Hello everyone, and welcome to the start of our week 3 coding class here for Unity. What we're going to be starting with is writing the code that's going to allow our player to jump. So to do this, we need to open up our player controller script. In the project panel, we can go to Resources, Scripts, Provided, and then double click on Player Controller. And that's going to open up our player controller script. What we need to start with is clicking at the end of our JumpSpeed variable after the semicolon, and we're going to actually write our own variable this time. So what we're going to say is public float jump speed equals 10f. So what this means is we're making another public variable, which means it'll be visible in our inspector. We have a float so that we can make it a decimal value if we choose. And then we're naming it jump speed so that we can control specifically how high we jump. Now what we can do is scroll down inside of our code, and in the space here between enemy jump and the lower curly bracket for update, keep in mind that every method that we talk about always has these curly brackets at the start and finish. So just like enemy jump has 2 here, update has 2 as well, that are just very far apart. We're going to click between these two in this little space here, and we're going to say public void jump, and then open and close parentheses, because a method always has open and close parentheses in the name. And then open and closed curly brackets. Now inside these curly brackets, we can define the code that will run every time we do what's called calling our jump method. You can actually see us call other methods in our code by scrolling up and seeing anywhere where we have something followed by these open and closed parentheses. So for example, get component is a method that allows us to reference a component on our game object. So in this case, anim is using the built-in getComponent method to reference our animator on our alien game object. And you can see that component here. So we use methods to execute code at controlled times. So back inside of our jump method here, we want to click inside our curly brackets. What we're going to say is movement.y is equal to jump speed. And then we can go ahead and put our semicolon at the end of that. Keep in mind that every single line of code we write, including our variable, always has to have this semicolon at the end. The only exception to that is when we are declaring a method. So when we're writing a method name, or when we're writing what's called a conditional or an if statement. So every other line of code is always going to require a semicolon at the end. Once you've got this here, let's go ahead and save our script by pressing Control or Command S or clicking that floppy icon or floppy disk icon in the top left of our screen.